Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. My name is Tony Fisher. I serve this congregation as its minister, and I'm proud to do so. We welcome you into this space this morning, and no, I'm not in my usual location. I'm actually on location in the religious exploration wing of our buildings here on Napa Woods Way. I'm excited to be here. It's a little lonely in this space because our youth and our children aren't here, but we hope soon that they will be. And our service today is talking about religious education. In the way we talk about it, religious exploration. So I'm grateful to be with you. I'm welcoming you here into this space. I am, as usual, grateful for our wonderful tech team, Daniel Goodsit, back from surgery, doing well. John Forsyth, our tech chair. We've got our new co-music directors, Abby and Sean Allison, are going to wow you with their music. A member of our board, Joe DeBisogno, is here to participate in the service, as is her son, Brentley Moore, to light our chalice. We have our worship associate, Patty Bryan, who is here to anchor the service back in the sanctuary while I do this bit down here in the RE wing. And I'm grateful to turn over the rest of the welcome to one of our longtime religious explorers, Rachel Castner.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. Whether you are watching us on Facebook Live at home or on our pavilion, we are so glad that you've joined us. And we are no less grateful if you have found another time to watch the recorded service on Facebook or YouTube. My name is Rachel Castner, and I've been coming to this congregation and taking part in the Religious Exploration Program for 5 years. I've also enjoyed being a member of the children's choir and performing on piano during worship services. Our mission statement, developed by the congregation over 7 years ago, states, "We are a welcoming congregation, freely seeking intellectual and spiritual growth. We strive to create a larger community of peace, justice, and love. Here we learn and grow together and try to live our values out in public." If you have found us online for the first time, we hope you will make yourself known in the comments section below our Facebook live stream so we can say hello and welcome you. We also hope that you'll email our administrator at office@uunaples.org so that we can include you in our regular email news blasts. That way, we can let you know about our hopes for gathering again in person and also about all the upcoming learning and fellowship opportunities here at UUCGN. And now, let's settle ourselves into this time of worship with the morning's prelude.
The Flaming Chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Its bowl represents the cup of life from which we all drink, holding all that we share in this interdependent web of life. The flame that burns within is the light of the eternal, the energy of creation, a portion of the fiery star from which all the elements of life exploded. We kindle the flame with gladness for each and every member of our community, the young and the old, those newly arrived, and those who have been contributing for years, and with the reverence to the spirit of life that flows through and between us all. Please join in the chalice lighting response. The words are on the screen. May this flame stir our hearts and remind us of our mission to be truly welcoming, to grow in mind and spirit, and to widen the circle of peace, justice, and love. Let's join together in singing a song from Ghana, Woyaya. It means we are going. Oh, right. Oops, sorry.
So I'm down here in the unfortunately empty religious exploration wing of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. It has been cleaned and newly painted. It is waiting for our children and youth to return, and yet, of course, the virus is not allowing it. Last year, when we closed down our campus and went entirely virtual for our Sunday services and for our other activities as well, we did the same with our religious exploration program. We sort of closed it down a little bit, and we continued on virtually, gathering on Sunday mornings at 11:30, right after the regular service, and we did a small, every week, youth chapel that all the youth and children were invited to, and we had a range of numbers of kids who showed up. Sometimes it was really small, and sometimes the gathering was pretty robust, but we gathered on Zoom, and we shared a chalice lighting, just like we just did, and a time of sort of in-gathering and sharing our news and what was going on in our lives. It was usually a story, sometimes a song, a conversation, and then a close. Pretty simple. It lasted about 20 minutes or a half an hour sometimes. We had some of our kids were regulars, and some sort of came in and came out over the course of the months that we were together. And we stopped doing it over the summer. The chalice lighting that I often shared with the kids was one that we often share in the sanctuary, in the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. One of the things that is so critical as we help our families raise this next generation of kids is the importance of those three things. The light of truth, especially in a world where truth is questioned often. Being able to think critically about what is right and what is good. To be able to sift through information and know information that comes to us from all different directions. And that's one of the things that Unitarian Universalist Sunday schools historically have taught. What do we think about that? How does that work with the things that you believe in? How does it fit in with our principles that we teach? It's a wonderful thing to be able to help families nurture that sense of the value of truth and how we find it and how we nurture it. In the light of truth and the warmth of community, what is more important than that feeling of belonging? I know I've shared a number of times with the congregation about my experiences growing up Unitarian Universalist, and while I can't remember but a very few things that had happened in the classroom on Sunday morning, I do remember singing in a choir in a group. I do remember being known and held by the community. I do still remember that sense of community, of belonging. And it has held me in very strong stead for a long time. That grounding that I received as a member of a community as a young child. It is incredibly valuable. It's a gift that the congregation gives to itself and to its family, young and old, the sense of being held, the sense of warm community. When we offer that to our children through our intentional acts of knowing their name and greeting them regularly, sometimes scolding them even, because that needs to happen occasionally, we give them a sense of place and of time and of that sense of belonging that is so powerful in a child's life. The light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. That's another piece to who we are as Unitarian Universalists. To model the kind of social action, social justice that kids pick up on, that they begin to understand that being an active and engaged participant in the world is something that we do. We take what we learn in terms of the truths that we're presented. We experience the warmth of community, and we carry that out the door, acting in the best possible way we can to try and serve the cause of justice in the world. Our principles call us to do this, and part and parcel of our religious exploration is helping children see their way and understand the importance of being an engaged participant in our society. In the light of truth and the warmth of community and the fire of commitment. What goes on here on Sunday mornings, in some ways, and of course in my experiences, has little to do with the very specific things that happen in the Sunday school class. It has everything to do with the way our congregation greets and welcomes and holds our families and our youth. And that's what we're talking about today.
Let's join Sean and Abby in singing our centering hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere. The words will be on your screen.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere.
We are an extraordinary fellowship, a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each week during our service, we set aside this time of community, a time to come together to share our individuals' joys or sorrows, and in doing so, build bonds of love and understanding. At this time, we remember those in our lives who are struggling or who are celebrating milestones. We honor those in the wider community who are ill with the virus, who have lost a loved one, or who serve on the front lines to help and to serve others. We hold all of them in our hearts. If you're thinking of someone right now, please take this time to light a candle or say a name or remember that person in some way. Our thoughts go out to Perry Gotsis, who has been receiving treatments at Naples Community Hospital this week. Perry is grateful for the emails he's been getting from the congregation. As noted in this week's Caring Corner, we will be celebrating the life of Joan Looney at 2 o'clock on Saturday, October 23rd. And the service celebrating Donna Carty's life will be held on Sunday, December 12th at 1 o'clock p.m. If you have a more detailed joy or sorrow that you would like to share with the congregation, the Caring Corner email communication is now being sent out every Tuesday. This is a way for each of us to share our news with the UUCGN community and to learn and respond to the joys and sorrows of others. If you have something that you'd like to share in this way, please email our office administrator at office@uunaples.org. As we enter into our time of meditation, it might be good to acknowledge that our lives are always in flux, buffeted by things within and beyond our scope to change. Thus, it's sometimes better to just lean into the motion and find within new ways to live.
Let's join together in the spirit of meditation. Spirit of life, God of our deepest understanding, we come together as learners, as seekers. We come to be nurtured and to nurture. In our gatherings, we make time and space to reach within through the clutter of our interior lives, to our center, to our truest self, to find that which grounds us and guides us towards being who we can be. We reach out to one another and to strangers with glad curiosity, seeking and acknowledging our connection as members of one human family. We celebrate our unity and our diversity and the joy of fellowship, glad to be reminded that we are not alone. And we reach upward and outward towards something greater than ourselves and seek their connection. We are here for ourselves and for all, young and old, who join us on this journey and return over and over again to this liberating, life-giving community. We come to be reminded of just who we are and what is most meaningful. To know we are loved, to know that our presence here matters, and to sense what is possible in this world. As we enter into a time of shared silence, let's acknowledge the gifts that we bring to this place, the gifts that others bring, and that we are grateful to receive here in this community of hope.
William Ellery Channing was one of the pivotal figures in the beginnings of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, helping to clarify at the time those ideas and ideals that distinguished this movement from the established churches in the young United States. He penned these words in 1837. The great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own, not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own, not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth, not to inform an outward regularity, but to touch inward springs, not to bind them by prejudices to our particular notions, but to prepare them for impartial, conscientious judging of whatever subjects may be offered up to their decision. Not to burden the memory, but to quicken and strengthen the power of thought. Not to impose religion upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but to awaken the conscience, the moral discernment. In a word, the great end is to awaken the soul to excite and cherish spiritual life.
Engage our wits to dance with you, to leap from logic's base, to capture insight on the wing, to sense your cosmic grace. Inspire our spark to light from you, to catch creation's flare, new artistry to celebrate, new harmonies to dare.
Those words by William Ellery Channing still ring true. The great end in religious education is to provide our children and our youth with experiences, with the resources, the tools, with the roots that will hold them close, the wings that will set them free to explore with wonder this incredible world and be able to find their way, to navigate their way through with open hearts and open minds, with love. It is still true today. And this incredible space that you're not seeing all of, but that's why I'm here, this incredible space was built with the hope that we might engage that next generation of learners, of seekers. It was built through the generosity of this congregation, young and old, in the hope that new families would come and join, new youth, new families to invigorate an already invigorated congregation. Unfortunately, what the folks only 12, 13 years ago didn't realize was that the whole dynamics of church going and expectations of religious education in a practical way was totally changing. Families were changing the way that they engaged with organized religion. They were looking for different things. Families were pulled in many, many more different directions on Sunday morning than when my generation grew up, when Sunday morning was it. The church was it on Sunday morning. Now there's so many things that families can engage in, not the least of which is spending time together, where there are two parents working and kids in school all the time. The weekends are sacred in terms of family time. So Getting them out of the house is difficult, except, of course, that there are all these other things that need to be attended to, sporting events and art classes. It's all available on Sunday morning. And the pressure on parents to have their kids engaged in those activities because of the way that the competition for success in education and success financially has to do with the ability for parents to give their kids a wide array of possibilities. And Sunday school, quite frankly, is only a piece of that, and sometimes hard to fit on a resume. So things have changed. Things are very different. The other piece is that progressive families are looking for communities that are more diverse, more inclusive, where there's a wider array of people that they can sort of experience with their kids. And Unitarian Universalist congregations, not just here but across the board, have struggled in sort of broadening their inclusivity, their diversity, and as such, we don't look as attractive to many families these days as we might. There's so many factors that have changed and were changing at the time that this incredible facility was built. But the kernel of what's important in teaching our children and supporting our families in their education, their moral education of their children, which is really what we do, is we support families who are the primary teachers of moral values in the children's lives. But our role is to support them in that, to give them an opportunity to have other voices share the same message, to share the same values that they're trying to impart to their kids. Another piece that is hard to sort of place in this whole context is the historic hyper-individualism that has been part of Unitarian Universalism for some time. And we have begun to move and shift away from that in the language of our principles, in the sense that we move from the inherent worth and dignity of every person to this wonderful idea of our interdependence. But the individualism that was sort of held sway in our congregations for a long time, that sense of it's all about me, is not something that's attractive to our families these days. So there's pieces of the puzzle here that don't quite fit for a lot of families. But that does not mean we give up on the ideal that Channing was talking about 200 years ago. It means that we have to stop. It means that we have to think about how it is we engage youth and families. We have to engage the whole family. We have to begin to understand what they need, what their needs are, both in terms of community and in a sense of supporting them in their role as the primary educator of moral values. What do we do? How do we engage that? We engage the families, and we talk about the things that we can offer, a place for children to experience that sense of wonder right outside the door here in our garden or in the justice work that we do, a place for them to process it with guides along the way, a sense of community that I talked about earlier, so critical to a child's moral development, that they have a sense of place and community. And for me, I think that's where we start. We start with that sense of community. And while we are struggling along with the rest of most of progressive religion these days and trying to figure out how to capture the minds and hearts of our families, what we can do is capture their hearts most importantly. Make sure that they know that they're welcome. Reach out to make sure they're welcome. Find out what their needs are. Know the names of our children that are here. Welcome them. Speak their name. That's so critical. I shared a story once before about that sense of connection I had in my community, and the realization at one point that people knew my name And therefore, this was a place I could call home, or my second home. It was a warm, it was a comfortable feeling, a sense of grounding, those roots that are so important. And for the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples, what we have right now is a wonderfully loyal set of families. It's not a large number, but numbers are not important. If there was one child who wanted to come in and learn and grow here, would we not give them our attention? And we have many more than that. We have a strong core of families who have been loyal through the pandemic, kids who showed up on Zoom on Sunday mornings, families who have shown up here to express their desires for what they might want, at least initially. We have a strong core of families that we need to pay attention to. It is our gift, it would be our gift as a congregation to give them that attention. As a whole, to welcome them, to express our joy in their presence, and to support those who are trying to create a program for our youth. That is, the second critical thing. Give them a grounding, give them a sense of belonging, but also give them our support financially and with our time and talent as well. We need to support a religious exploration program here because we can build something important to fill these classrooms with families and youth, but it's going to be something that takes all of us to do. This is really holy work. It could be the best thing we do when we take the time to think intentionally about how we might make this happen. And we don't leave it in the hands of the parents because in some ways they're struggling to find the time. They need the support. We have the time, the talent, and the treasure to create a program that will, I think, be viable if we put all our minds and hearts into it and could finally attract those wonderful families that don't even know we exist right now. As I said, this is holy work that we ignore at our own peril. At best, what we teach here, adults and children alike, is that we are part of a universe of diversity and interdependence, and that the diversity in our world clearly suggests that truth and beauty take many different forms. The things that we call good are connected with the enhancement of life. The evil in the world is associated with self-absorption and is life-destroying. Salvation for us Universalists, Unitarians, lies in selflessness and in service. These are things that we know, that we can experience, that we can model for our youth. A religious community, in my mind, must be in the world and concerned with the world. It must be intentional about working to create a space for the next generation. I believe in Unitarian Universalism. I'm a minister. I have to. But I do. I believe that what we have here, the message that we have here, can be liberating and life-saving, and that we need to have a next generation to pass it on to. This community, this Collier County community, is quite large and growing. There's tens of thousands of children in our school systems. And within those tens of thousands, we know that there are progressive families who don't know we exist. And if we begin to do what we're talking about in terms of, as a congregation, getting out and engaging diversity through our associations with the NAACP and SURGE and the Immokalee community, we will continue to sort of grow our presence, and people will begin to see us. And when they begin to see us and they begin to show up at our doors, we need something to hold them here. Let me close with these words from Unitarian Universalist minister Kendall Gibbons, who are these children that we are mindful of them. They are our present delight. By them we are reminded of life's small joys and wisdoms. They are heirs of the work that we have done and are doing. The next generation under whom the torch of our tradition shall pass from our hands. They shall build upon the foundations we lay. They are there, the unwritten chapter in the story of our faith. This being the case, what do we promise them? What can we promise unto them and to their parents? We can pledge them our love and support, a listening ear, and a helpful hand in times of trial. We can pledge them a community of open-mindedness, a place where their beliefs, their doubts, and their questions are received with gentleness and respect. We can pledge them the challenge, skepticism at the all-too-easy answer, and a pointing to the ever-open road. In the light of truth and the warmth of community and the fire of commitment, let us commit ourselves to the education and nourishment of the next generation. Let us help those we have grow. Let us welcome others into our midst. Let us try to fill this classroom, this promise, this hope with laughter and love. So may it be.
Good morning. My name is Jody Bizzano. I am one of your newer board members of UUGN. As we take time to consider these words in today's message, let's also show our gratitude for this community and all that it does. The morning's offering would be gratefully received. Please consider sending a contribution today. The information you need to donate is on the screen. We take just a few moments now to bring you up to date on all the congregational events you should be aware of. There is a lot going on here, so for regularly scheduled events and activities, please take a peek at the email notices and Sunday news that are sent out each week. They offer you links to learning and fellowship, opportunities that feed your mind, body, and spirit. If you'd like to be on our mailing list, please send an email to office@uunaples.org. My name is Jody Bizzano, and as mentioned, I serve on the Board of Trustees as an at-large member. This summer, I've also taken on the task of getting our religious exploration program up and running for the 20-plus students that, like you, have been waiting to come back to church and be a part of our community. Many of you might know me, but you most likely know my son, Brentley. I became a member a year before he was born. He has grown up in this loving, open, socially conscious church that teaches us that all beings are important, that love is love, and that empathy and kindness needs to be ever present in our lives and how we choose to be with others. I have a hope and a vision for my son. We at UUGN have an obligation to ensure that generations and generations after us will continue to learn, live, support, and grow in our principles and our mission. This is our purpose for religious exploration. RE, our families, and our children are the future of this congregation. So what does that mean? This means that the RE program needs your support, such as your time, talent, and treasure. No different than any other program we offer here. As an RE family, and now a representative of the board, we believe we should place as much effort in our children as we do our adult enrichment programming and other education programs that we offer. We believe we should place as much effort in our children as those that we feed each week through our weekend meals. We believe our children here at UUGN should come first. We believe there are so many ways that can be made a part of all of the other incredible programs that we offer, bringing their young eyes, their beginners' minds, and quite frankly, some wisdom that many of us adults can use at such challenging times like this. You all have an opportunity to be a part of the lives of our youth. This incredible group of families and their children are very eager to start. Myself, Patty Freiberg, Kim Kane, and Tabitha Stadler have spearheaded this program that has been placed by the wayside. The board has identified RE as a top priority for the next year, but we cannot continue to grow, teach, and engage our children without the support of this congregation. With Reverend Tony's guidance, Anna's support, and the time and talent of this small group, we have created a plan that is creative and fun to get started as soon as we are ready to open. But what we really need is all of you, because we cannot do this alone. There are so many ways to help. Behind the scenes, such as cleaning and organizing the RE wing to get ready, helping to greet or get snacks when our children are back on campus, in the classroom to teach or guest present, or to chaperone a field trip or an event that we have outside of Sunday service. There are so many other ideas that relate to our principles and support our efforts that provide you an opportunity to share your love of UUGN with our youngest generations. We not only want to welcome our children back, but we want to welcome them back with excitement. We want to show all of them that they are an integral part of our greater vision. So please join me and the RE families and the board to help us continue to grow. So I will be sending out an email with ways to get involved in which you can help, or please feel free to contact me directly, and we will welcome you with open arms. As for other things going on at UU campus, the reopening committee continues to monitor local information about the virus and are currently targeting September 26th as the date that we will return to live services. A notice was sent out about this on Friday, but please do stay tuned. The situation in Collier County is quite fluid. With that said, we are still welcoming people who would like to join together safely on the pavilion to watch the stream service on the big screen. Everyone is invited to join discussion this fall of the UUA Common Read for 2021. The book is Breathe, A Letter to My Sons by Imani Perry, and it's worth a reading. The date for the discussion will be determined soon, so stay tuned for news about our regular lecture series, the Mindful Monday Forum, which starts on September 27th, and our wonderful Wednesday programming, which begins its season on October 13th. Over the next 2 Sundays, Reverend Tony Fisher will be giving a 2-part sermon series considering what we need to hold on to and what we should be leaving behind as we move forward in a troubling world. Now please join Sean and Abby as they lead us in our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine.
Light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up our world, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
And tenderness, and their minds with visions of a world where truth and justice prevail. Let us create safe and nurturing places for them to grow, and listen in a way that allows them to tell their truth about who they are and all that they can see. And let us commit to our children's future by doing all that we can today to build the world we dream about. Go in peace, go in love.